Hey, family, it's Dr. Pyant, Mindset for Freedom. How are you? I hope that you're smiling just like I'm smiling at you. I hope that you're smiling as well because you can do it. You can smile for yourself. You can smile because you love life. You can smile because you're grateful because we woke up this morning. You can smile. So smile. Yeah. It's nice to be with you this evening, this afternoon, whatever time it is in your region. And I wanted to talk to you tonight about default and grounding. So, when you say default in therapy and in psychology in that mode, you're talking about something that happens in the brain, an activity that happens in the brain that causes a emotional activity within you. So default is like, when you default to something, you default in your credit or a default is like a negative. It's a negative. So when you have so much trauma and you consistently having things happen in your life over and over and over again, you go into what us psychologists and psychiatrists and therapists, we call that a default mode. And it has to do with your brain, and it shows itself in your attitude. Making sense? So when you go into a default mode, you get very quiet, you get very still, you don't want to be bothered. Things don't really matter. And like I said tonight about smile, you're like, yeah, you go right on ahead. I don't see nothing to smile about. Yeah, that's somebody that's in default mode. So it happens. It happens to us all. It happens to the best of us because things happen in life and you can't control what happens in your life, but you can control how you respond to it. And you can control, no, you can't always control how you respond to it because sometimes things just catch you off guard and you go from freeze to fight, in a moment. So sometimes you can't control how you respond to it, but you can control how you allow it to respond to you. Does that make sense? You can control how you allow that situation that's happening in your life. You can control that. And you do that by grounding. So when you have a lot of anxiety and stuff is coming at you, you might have been diagnosed with PTSD. You might be a victim of trauma. You might have high levels of anxiety. Whatever the situation is, it's something that's happened in a negative that's caused your emotions not to be at peace. You don't have that flow. You don't have that continuous flow. You're tired all the time, or you're snappy, or you're cranky, or you're grouchy. You feel me? Either you're that way or somebody we know people that way. Yeah, that those people are in default mode, or it could be us when we go into default mode. But tonight I want to talk to you just briefly because I was praying. I'm always praying, meaning I'm always talking to God because I told you before our ancestors, that's what they did. They spoke to God. And remember, I told you before I talk about default and grounding, I just want to go into this just one time again because it's important. Because maybe somebody didn't hear one of the previous videos and they might say, well, what's she talking about? I'm talking about your connection to God as a spirit. I'm talking about how you, me, we are connected to our Creator. And I asked God, why is it that we can praise him, we can talk about him, we can speak in tongue, and this is real because this is coming from out of our belly. But then there are times when we don't trust the process. There are times when the thing that's happening to us attacks us and takes us into a default mode. It can shake, trouble can come in your life, baby, and it can shake you. And it doesn't matter how strong, spiritual, whatever it is that you are, it can and will shake you. And my point to you tonight is that before you go into a default mode and allow that thing to press default, you need to be grounded. Now, people have done therapy. I have been a therapist for more than 20 years, more than 20 years, helping people, helping young people, helping people with marriages, individual clients, teenagers, you name it. So my background practice is CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. So I have a PhD in cognitive behavioral therapy. So if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. Google is our friend. It'll tell you. I'm not going to go through all of that tonight on this. But I have been helping people use that. And of recent, like I told you, maybe you've listened to the videos before, I retired and moved to Florida. So I wasn't doing therapy like that anymore because all of my clients were in New York. And then came COVID, and then came online. But in between that came people. People began to attract themselves to my frequency. And I don't put cards out. I wasn't doing any Instagram or any posting. I was just there. But it let me know that God wasn't finished with me yet. He wasn't finished with the gift that He had planted in me. Not only did that let me know, but I told you I am a cancer survivor. That let me know He's not finished with you, baby. He left you here. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to use my voice for freedom. I'm going to share with God's people how to be free. How about that? Is that you? Well, listen, it's you because you're my family. Yes, yes. So, yeah, I get excited when I start talking about God because, if you're not going to be in this transformation with me and you're not going to be doing things spiritually, it's not going to happen for you. Ain't no joke about it. Ain't no need to beat around no bush. Because if you don't get grounded spiritually, I'm not talking about with religion, I'm talking about spiritually. So remember, I said before, I asked God, how did our ancestors and our forefathers, how did they stay grounded? Because they had circumstances that came upon in their life that they didn't have answers to. And the Spirit said to me, because they knew me in a way that you in this Western world do not. They didn't have religion. They just had God. They had the presence of God. They knew the actions of God. They knew the act of God. They knew that without them, there was nothing, that God lives within them. They knew that breath. That's why in the Eastern world, they're so caught up in the breath. And we in the Western world got all of this foolishness about yoga, negative, meditation, negative. Listen, that is positive, honey. Those are the best things we can do. Don't you know that Jesus, Yeshua, meditated? Because He was from the East. Come on now. So we don't have the same relationship with God the way Abraham did. Now, I was thinking about this because I was thinking about Abraham because most of us can relate to Abraham. And when Abraham had to sacrifice Isaac, honey, you have to have a relationship with God. Because Abraham was told to take his only son, the one that Sarah had. She didn't have no more children. Now imagine him taking their child to be sacrificed because God and him had this conversation. And that's what he heard God say to do. See, that's that faith. That's that unmovable presence. That's that unmovable connection when you don't know the answer. You just know the voice. And what I want to say to you tonight is we have to do what Abraham did. He said yes. You have to say yes to God. You have to say yes to the Spirit of the Almighty because that's what's going to move the mountains for us. That's what's going to keep us grounded. So, while I was thinking about what to post this tonight, on yesterday, I was listening to Jonathan McReynolds. And if I tell you, that moved me. Now, you might know him, you might not, but I'm going to take a page from his song. And I'm not too sure what, I think it's You Could Move On Over or something like that. But the words to the song are like this. Now, this is for your grounding. This is for your grounding. He said, finding space for what you treasure. Finding space. Because remember, I said when you go into default mode, you don't have no space. Everything is shut down. But you got to find space within you. You got to breathe. You got to remember the presence of God. You got to remember what it feels like or felt like to be loved. And don't you let that habit of mine tell you that you've never been loved, because that's a lie. You have been loved by someone at some time in your life. You just have to remember. And if you can't remember it right now, it's all right, I got something for you. You remember what it feels like to love something, an object, a child, a friend. Remember what it is and find space for what you treasure, making time for what you want. You make time to pray. You make time to think about the goals. I want you to think about what you want to see happen in your life next month. What do you want to see happen? And I want you to breathe into that. I had that. I'm doing this. I'm doing the challenge for myself. I could tell you what it is, but I won't tell you right now because, you don't know me like that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So, with the bone marrow transplant, they had me on all kinds of stuff. So one of the last things they had me on that I wanted to detox from was oxycodone. Now, because of the bone marrow transplant and the medicines I have to take, to reset my body, I can't do a lot of natural things that would have helped me to manage the pain, because I have like disc out in my back from something previous and this out in my neck. Like I tell you, the devil been trying to take your girl out for a long time, but it ain't happening. That didn't happen then and it ain't happening now. So yeah, so I can't take CBDs and I can't take anything, like that. So I had to take their prescription stuff, which is oxycodone. So I'm there now. I'm feeling so much better. I don't have a lot of pain. I still have a little, it's still there, it's still nagging, but I do a lot of grounding. I have a grounding mat, a grounding pad, and grounding pads that I stick on my body. Yeah, DM me. I'll tell you more about it. But my goal for the month was to not be on oxycodone. So I set that goal in my mind and I breathe into that. And I want you to feel the same way. Feel what it would feel like to accomplish the goal. How do you see yourself in 1 month? What is your goal? Did you find space for what you treasure? Did you find space to embrace what you want? I want you to do that for yourself. And I want you to tell yourself in 1 month, this is what I want to see. Now, it needs to be realistic. Don't be talking about you want $1 million and, foolishness. I'm talking about something realistic that you yourself can do for yourself. It could be that you want to eat better. It could be that you want to wake up earlier. It could be that you want to juice. It could be that you want to take your supplements, whatever it is. It could be that you want to have more clarity. You want to be more consistent. Yeah. What is it that you need to do? Okay. So I want that to be your priority. And listen, before I just keep going on, because I can, right? Your girl can, right? Yeah. Because I love talking about this stuff. Remember, I said to being grounded. So I want you to be grounded and I want you to know that God loves you and life loves you. And I want you every morning, because some of us are in default mode because of stuff that has happened and keeps happening. And I'm telling you, it can shake you. But let me tell you something. Greater is he that is in you than that is in this world. Put your arms around yourself and hug yourself. Take a breath. Come on, let's do it together. And hold it and release it to 8. And tell yourself, I find space for what I treasure. I find space for what I need. I make room for my priorities. Take a breath. Let one of your priorities be getting closer to the Creator. Let one of your priorities not be religion, but being closer to the God that is love, that loves you unconditionally. that has grace and mercy, that keeps on waking us up. Hey, I'm enjoying this moment with you. I thank God for every day, and I thank Him for you. And I know you thank Him for me. Keep praying for me out there. Keep sending these videos to people that need to hear that somebody might be in default mode. Somebody needs to be grounded. I love you so much. Until next time, this is Dr. Payant, Mindset for Freedom. You know what to do. Like it, share it, subscribe. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can find me there. You know why? Because my intention and my priorities are to reach God's people with the message that you have it in you. And I'm here to help you find it. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.